Okay, we will now call to order the Reclamation District 900 board meeting pursuant to Government Code Section 54953 as amended by Assembly Bill 361 and due to the state emergency declared by the governor on March 4th, 2020, members of the Reclamation District 900 board trustees and staff will participate in this meeting via teleconference. To reduce the spread of COVID-19, members of the public may watch the meeting via live stream and participate on the Zoom link that is provided in the RD900 website. We begin with the general administration, part 1, presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the district. The agency is prohibited by law from discussing issues not on the agenda brought to them at this time. Are there any requests to speak? Mr. General Manager?
There are no requests to speak.
Okay. Next, we will go to the monthly year-to-date revenue and expense report. Mr. General Manager?
So back in June, we provided the 2022-2023 new budget. We also provided the 21-22 budget. We're still closing out the 21-22 year budget, so wanted to present that or just real quickly discuss. We're tracking pretty well with our closeout for the 21-22 year. We're still expecting some revenue from Yolo County and West Safeka, but generally we're on track with our budget and our expenses. We're fresh into the 22-23 year, only a month in, so there's not a tremendous amount to discuss for expenses for this year. But last year we're tracking as we had predicted. So if anyone has any questions on the budget.
Are there any questions on the budget from anyone?
No.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, with that, we will go to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda, or if there are any requests to remove any agenda items, please let me know.
So moved, DeRosco.
All right, thank you.
Second, Alcala.
Okay, and Trustee Orozco moved and Trustee Alcala seconded. Mr. General Manager, please call the roll.
Trustee Alcala,
Aye.
Trustee Orozco,
Aye.
Trustee Early,
Aye.
President Guerrero.
Aye. All right, this is approved, and we have one abstention, Chris Ledesma, because he's not in at this time. And next we go to the General Manager updates. Mr. General Manager?
Sure. So right now, sorry, as I'm digging through my paperwork here. First thing, our Blacker Canal project is moving forward. We submitted our Q2 reimbursement to FEMA or Cal OES. So that's moving forward. All documentation is, they're working on the permits now for the NEPA documentation. So that's moving forward. So like we had discussed before, we're trying to get the project out for bid construction next year. So it appears we're on track for that. The Flood Maintenance Assistance Program through DWR, the FMAP program. We just got copies of the documentation on that here last night and made comments back to our consultant on that. So we're looking at asking the state for about $430,000 for maintenance assistance. I think in the last years, and Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we were in about the $250,000 range. So we've upped it a little bit since last year. Levy maintenance was kind of a follow-up with our previous discussion. We had one of our mowers burn up. We're still waiting for insurance to come back with a final settlement on that. So we're waiting on that. Unfortunately, one of our other mowers is at its life expectancy. It's a 14-year-old mower tractor. If you equate hours to mileage, it's got about 500,000 miles on it. Our staff has welded and put extra metal to the mower and the mowing arm to support it. Unfortunately, it's just the metal fatigue over that many years is wearing on the machine, and we will need to replace that machine probably within the next 6 months. One of the pins that support the mowing arm, the extension arm to the mower, has failed, and this is the third time it's failed in a relatively short period of time, and the metal is just worn out. So we're again, the life expectancy is running out on this equipment. So we will be asking for bids on new equipment here shortly to move forward with additional equipment. As for projects, I've mentioned this again previously, the roof replacement, landscaping and signage. I have not been able to get a request for proposals out on the street. My goal is in the next 2 weeks to do that, and definitely before the rains hit on the roof. So still working on that. Let's see, DWR, USAC, no updates there. The regional exercise for the flood season, emergency operations, is scheduled for next Thursday, August 25th. So that'll be several reclamation districts, cities, counties together to do both an infield office training to see how the communications move along. It is we'll call it kind of a practical, real life, see how we all do with communications and so on with this procedure. So I'm coming into this a little late, and but it sounds like it's one of the first ones that has been done in this area. So it will be really interesting to see how the process goes and what we can learn from each other on this exercise. Let's see, coordination with the City of West Sacramento, the project for their Bridgeway Lakes to try to dam up water in our main canal to divert water to the lakes is moving forward. The contract, I believe, has been awarded. We're meeting with the contractor Monday to start the project of diverting water to Bridgeway Lakes. So that's a good sign. Let's see. Our shared agreement with the city for Mr. Greg Fabian's time is about run out of hours, or I think it has run out of hours. And so Greg and I have been talking along with other city folks about preparing a new shared agreement, but for a broader agreement between the two entities that we could share staff, administrative support, managerial support, operational support between the two entities. I think it's a great idea. So if we need help with something in the field and the city's got that particular support, and vice versa. So we've got some equipment that the city doesn't have, and if it worked out that we could share support, that would be fantastic. So Greg and I and city staff will work on an agreement and bring back to the board for questions and or approval. Greg, there was something else I think we were going to talk about regarding West Safeka, and I'm drawing a blank with what we were going to discuss.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. So just wanted to provide an update on the activities with the Flood Control Agency. Really, over the past several months, the Corps has, for the most part, been out of design money while we're waiting to enter into the construction agreement with the Corps. It's called the Project Partnership Agreement, or PPA, which right now is scheduled to be signed and executed on September 7th. So the chair of WSAFCA and myself will be in attendance at the Corps' facilities on J Street, at their headquarters, not headquarters, but their district office, along with representatives from the Central Valley Flood Protection Board, as well as the Corps. There is room for one additional attendee from either the city or WSAFCA. So if any of the Reclamation District Board / City Council is interested in attending the signing ceremony on September 7th, that's around 10 o'clock in the morning, please email me and let me know, and I'll make sure that the Corps is updated, and we'll get you in the building. Aside from that, WSAFCA has continued to, the Yolo bypass levee is ready to move to construction once the PPA is executed. While that's been on hold, so to speak, WSAFCA city staff have been doing the investigations and pre-design work for the next levee to be repaired, which is the Sacramento River North levee. And so we've done a lot of geotechnical explorations. We've done survey boundaries for construction and environmental clearance. And all of those things have been progressing very well. And we're anxious for this PPA to get executed so the Corps can literally come to the table and take charge and start then planning for design of that next increment, as well as moving toward construction in 2023 for the Yolo bypass levee segment. On the funding side, the FY22 federal appropriations is all locked and loaded and ready to go as soon as the PPA is executed. It's approximately $25 million for the Corps. And FY23 appropriations, both the House and Senate bills contain the roughly $80 million for the FY23 federal fiscal year for our project. Best intel is that we're looking at another continuing resolution for FY23, and perhaps right around the first of the year, January of 23, we'll get some appropriation bills signed. But since we're so late in the 22 fiscal year, the Corps will have plenty of funds to support their efforts, until the FY23 appropriations are realized. And that's pretty much it on the WSAFCA side. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Greg. One item I left off under maintenance, we got approval from the Central Valley Flood Protection Board to start the repair on the cracking that occurred in the levee, I believe last year. So our consultant is working on plans and specifications. We're going to do a fast track to get this done and try to get it repaired before the rainy seasons hit. So stay tuned on that project. We're hoping to be able to bring a contract award to the board in September.
Thank you. Are there any
Yep.
questions among the trustees?
No.
Regarding the Bridgeway Lakes project, sorry, Trustee Early?
No, I was saying no.
Okay. Regarding the Bridgeway Lakes project, so can you give me the sequence of when it starts, or is it just kind of like the sequence of what's happening and what the expected outcome will be from that, and when that would happen?
Sure. So as you're probably aware, the lake has the design of the pond was to fill up from groundwater, and due to the lack of rain, lack of groundwater, the pond is drying up. The city owns a well, I'm going to guess approximately 3 miles from Bridgeway Lakes. And so what they can do is turn the well on, fill our main canal with water, and discharge water towards Bridgeway Lakes. But what we need to do is dam up a couple of areas. We'll dam up the main canal at the well site, and then we would dam up Blacker Canal, and then we would dam up the main canal as it passes beyond the canal that leads to Bridgeway Lakes. And damming it up, we're going to use rock riprap to place in the canal. And it's more just to see if it's going to work right now. There was ideas of putting inflatable dams in the canal. But right now the city's decided to use riprap to see if we can actually, if the well itself has the capacity to fill the canal to move water into Bridgeway Lakes. So that's the master plan here. Part of the contract is to remove the riprap once the rainy season hits. So as October rolls around, we'll really have to pay attention to the rain. And if we need to remove that rock, get out there before it gets too muddy, wet to do that. So we'll definitely, between myself and the city, pay attention to that, and we'll stockpile the rock to be used again at a later date.
If I may ask a question, this is Orozco.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Hypothetically speaking, if there were developments in the Southport area and there were additional water features and amenities built similar to Bridgeway Lake, do you think that the other types would they impact their existence, impact the water going into Bridgeway Lakes the way we're trying to plan to refill it? Or do you think equally? I mean, is this would this be an ongoing problem in West Sacramento if others were to be built?
Yeah,
And maybe you don't know. I'm sorry, Blake. That might be, you're new. So I'm curious.
Well, from working with the city staff on Bridgeway Lakes, what we have found with that one is there was no well installed at Bridgeway Lakes, so there is no water supply really to Bridgeway Lakes other than diverting water from our main canal. There is a diversion dam to allow water to get to Bridgeway Lakes, but the water in the canal has to be up pretty high. So of course, during the rainy months, water would probably move to Bridgeway Lakes. Unfortunately, with our 5-6 years of drought or longer, groundwater has decreased, and the water in the canal has actually dropped significantly. So I know the city did do a study and to confirm that the flow of the well would be enough to get water to Bridgeway Lakes. But of course, with the temperatures that we're seeing, this summer, evaporation may be a huge issue that we're dealing with, or the city's dealing with. So I think other lakes around wells need to be looked at to keep the ponds, the lakes filled. Like I said, in this particular case, there are no wells. There is a drinking well nearby, but using drinking water is probably prohibited. Plus, the chemicals that we do add to the drinking water can create some additional problems. So the city decided against trying to use the well drinking well water.
Okay. Gosh. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Well, just to add to that question, there is some table of underground water in some way for the growth in this, beyond the Southport area. So, there are going to be 2 developments, and one is going to have a golf course. Greg, are you familiar with the alternative source of water that they'll be having to take care of that?
No, I think from the designs that I've seen, the development, I think it was previously called Yarborough, it may still be called
Yeah.
Yarborough. It proposes to tie into the existing main drain canal system and increases, the storage and acreage of the overall drainage system from both main drain canal and the lakes that would be created as part of that project. But as to the best of my knowledge, there's no alternative source of water proposed with that development. And with the subsiding groundwater table, the long periods of drought, that may be something that should be looked at if the lakes are going to be an integral part of, either maintaining the banks of the shore or anything like that. Or perhaps it's designed to be both a water feature and a dry feature with no harm, no foul, depending on whether it's full of water or not. But, and then like they're looking at doing with Bridgeway Lakes, a well system to provide supplemental water in periods of drought. I think those all should be on the table, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So if this project moves forward, I wonder, with the atmospheric kind of weather patterns we're experiencing, I'm looking at Las Vegas. All of a sudden, we have this significant weather system that happens out here. We've had a bomb cyclone, and that water along the drain canal went up very quickly within 24 hours. Would we be prepared to remove any barriers that are blocking it so that the water flows out?
Yes, we've talked about that a bit, and we do have an excavator that we could use to remove those barriers, the rock. We may not be able to move all of it, but we could move a good portion of it to allow the flows to get through. So yes, the answer is that was a big concern I had to make sure that we could move the rock out of the way. It's not in the contract for this particular contractor to move it at a minute's notice, but between the city and the RD, we could get the rock out of the way to get the canal flowing to the pump station.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. I just want to make sure that is the case. And then how quickly will it get, like getting any kind of water flow into the Bridgeway Lakes?
That is a good question. Unfortunately, because we've had a extremely dry winter and summer, and the heat has really picked up, the water level in the canal has dropped significantly. And so the only source of water, of course, groundwater and that particular well. And so I don't know that answer. There was a study done that showed that the well would start to fill up the lake over a period of time. But I do not have a copy of that study. The city prepared that study. You were talking about the cyclone and bomb that hit and whatnot. Our canal, according to staff, has got plenty of freeboard. Again, I've not seen a study that proves that, but nobody has seen water come near the top of the canal to date. So that's the good news. But again, you'd mentioned Las Vegas. You get some kind of unusual atmospheric storm come through and all bets are off. So
Okay, thank you. Any other questions among the trustees? No. All right. Does that conclude your report, Mr. General Manager?
Yes, that concludes my report.
Are there any trustee comments?
No.
All right,
This is,
I'll accept a
oh.
motion to adjourn, and then if that's the case, I think we are done.
Thank you so much, Blake. And this is the Rose call. I'll make a motion.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. General Manager, trustee Orozco moved and trustee Alcala seconded. Please call the roll.
Trustee Alcala?
Aye.
Trustee Orozco?
Aye.
Trustee Early?
Aye.
President Guerrero?
Aye. All right, we are all done. Thank you so much for everything. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.